getting enough leads. Like that's your issue. I just don't have enough people to work with. If that's the case, then look at what tools, what skill sets do you need to be developing that's relevant to that piece of the business. Reminder, we are in the final stretch of the second quarter. We have 3 weeks left this quarter. So where are you at? Where are you at in your business? Remember, the theme for this quarter is foot on the gas pedal. We're pushing hard to set ourselves up for having the perfect summer, taking some time off and enjoying some transactions, right? In the summer months. We also want to set ourselves up for the fall market. So all the new leads that you generate today and the next few weeks, they're really going to come to fruition come September and October. So if you want to set yourself up so you have a strong fall, this is what we do. This is the time of the year. So push hard right now. All right. So our topic today is developing resilience in the competitive industry, real estate, obviously. So let's get right into it. First question I have is, how do you stay adaptable when the market conditions or your client expectations shifts unexpectedly? How do you stay adaptable? You're on mute there, Christine.
What do you mean adaptable?
Like let's look at the scenario. You got a client who's listening to you, they're doing everything that you're saying, then all of a sudden they stop. How do you deal with that?
They stop what?
Stop listening to you. Stop doing what you're asking them to do. They start to question everything you say.
I find if I fall back on the numbers, okay, so like I said this before, your house has been on the market 7 days. We've had 20 showings. These are the homes that sold when your house is still up. Then it becomes pragmatic and not emotional.
Okay. Okay. So putting the logic into it.
Yeah,
Okay.
your house isn't sold, these sold, yours hasn't.
There you go. So using data and facts to support your what you're asking the client to do,
Yeah.
right? Love it. You got something, Angie?
I do. Um, if that happens, I sit down and into the office. It's a neutral grounds. Sit them down and go over, because it must be something that if they get like that, it's either that they're changing their mind or, they're not happy with what the market's doing. So I sit them down and like have another consultation with them and dive deeper into, what's going on.
Great. So the client's expectations has changed unexpectedly. You're sitting with them and sharing with them, hey, this is what's happening. And the truth is yes, as realtors, we see what's happening in the market before anyone else does. We can tell what's happening in the market based upon how many homes are on the market, what's selling each month. When you take a look at the data every single day on your MLS, you can read that data and can interpret that data. You understand what's happening. So really what we're looking for is anticipating this change and then educating the consumer. So that would be one way to be adaptable, is to stay on top of what's happening in the marketplace, having clarity of what's going on, what trends are starting to see in your MLS. If you start to notice that days in the market are just creeping up, right? So it's really staying on top of what's going on locally in your marketplace, because the media doesn't get this information until like 3 months later. They're always wrong. Whatever's going out there in the media is always wrong. It's not the most updated, but you have the most updated information. So anticipating, I guess, is what we're looking for, right? Is keeping yourself ahead of the curve. All right, next question is, what steps do you take to embrace the change in your industry rather than resist it? What steps do you take to embrace the change rather than resist it?
Just keep my numbers up, then I don't have to think about it.
Okay. So keeping your numbers up, basically staying on par with what you say you're going to do. Okay. I like that. Okay. And what else? Anything different? So how do you embrace change?
Change of
What?
like people's like change of the market slowing down or
Well, the industry changes, correct?
yeah.
We went from a pager to a phone,
Okay.
right? Industry changes. There's always constant changes going on. Now we can go with the simple, the surface level stuff would be interest rates change, right? But I want to get deeper on this with the industry itself. You know, if you're in and if you're in Canada, right, we had a whole new system come on this, what was it, December the 1st, 2022. The new changes to the way we deal with buyers,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Industry is constantly changing. There's always been a major overhaul. If you're in the US, you got the NAR settlement, and now that became changes. It became very important to use a buyer agency agreement. So rather than resist it and fight it, how do you embrace it? What do you need to do?
Stay on top of it.
Okay. How?
Educate myself.
Okay, I like that. So learning about it,
Yeah.
right? So really doing a deep dive on it. Great. What do you got, Mark?
I always kind of do a quick skim of the emails that we get from our boards and all of that stuff. And to be honest, I grab because those emails are so long. I just grab them, I throw them in ChatGPT, and I just say, "Is there anything super interesting I should be aware of in this email?" And it'll say, you know, new waivers coming into play, new courses coming in. There's been a big change, and then it's like, oh, that sounds important. So I honestly just go to all the courses that seem really important.
Love it. See, that's what I was looking for is how do you embrace the change? What is it? See, because you either have a fixed mindset or you have a growth mindset. And a person with a fixed mindset is going to resist the change, right? I don't need a cell phone. I can use a payphone. There's phones all on every corner, right? But a growth mindset is, okay, tell me more. Tell me more about this AI. How do I use AI in my business? As opposed to just, very easily typing in, rewrite this, which you don't want to be doing. You want to be going into it a little bit more and creating your own agent on like some sort of LLM platform like ChatGPT. You want to create your own agent for you, like almost like an assistant. See, that's going further. That's embracing the AI a bit more as opposed to just typing in, hey, can you rewrite this description of this house? And I love what you said there, Mark, is like, hey, why don't I take this new information that's coming our way and have ChatGPT read it and just give me the bullet points about it? You could take it a step further and any sort of changes that happens in your industry, throw it into Notebook LM, which is by Google. And what it will do is it will take that information and create a podcast for you so you can listen to it, right? So now you're learning about changes in your industry, right? Anything that comes your way, there's an AI program that can advance it for you, make it easier for you, right? So are you embracing the changes that are happening in the industry right now? Are you more like, no, I'll learn it when I need to? Do you take time in your schedule to learn about this, right? Are you part of any sort of mastermind groups, real estate mastermind groups? And I know some of you are on teams, no, outside of your team, not just on your team, but outside of your team, where you're learning and talking to like-minded realtors, a mastermind group, maybe a half hour once a month, whatever it may be, right? Are you attending webinars? Tom Ferry has tons of webinars happening every week. There's a plethora of information coming at you literally every day. Are you on those? If you're not on those, are you taking that information and, like Mark said, throwing it to ChatGPT and just getting the bullet points so you're ahead of the curve, right? This is your industry. We need to stay top in front of what's changing, what's happening. Okay. So this leads me to my next question: is how do you stay proactive in identifying new opportunities because of the changes in the market? How do you stay proactive on that? Besides, you got a pain in the ass coach that keeps telling you about stuff like this. Anyone else? Go ahead, Angie. You got something? You put your hand up, or you're on mute.
No.
No, you good? Oh, sorry, Mark. You got your hand up.
I honestly, I make it a non-negotiable. For a little while, it was overwhelming and it was just doing too many webinars, courses, it was so much. And so I just made a promise to myself, I'll do one every week. So whatever that is, usually what I try to like there, you always have them in advance notice. So usually Monday's my day. Actually, this morning it's what I did. It's at 7 to 7:30 a.m. I kind of just scroll through anything that's happening. I go to Eventbrite, which is here in Toronto. I don't know if it's everywhere else, but I see, anything I can find that's like a webinar, an event that I could attend this week or something that could offer value. I will scroll through the Tom Ferry and see if there's anything I can learn. And then I promise myself to do one a week, and that's 4 a month. And by the end of the year, I've done quite a few of them, but it keeps me relevant and it helps me network with other people and learn a little bit more as well.
Love it. I think that's brilliant. That's getting inside information, what's cutting edge and what's happening. Love that. How do you stay proactive in identifying new opportunities in your marketplace? Have you guys ever taken the data from your MLS and threw it into ChatGPT to analyze it? Has anyone ever done that?
I've done that.
Okay. Do you do it on a regular basis? Like I've done it once. I'll be honest with you. I've only done it once. I actually have a prompt to analyzing in my Google Docs. But what if you kind of took a look at it and looked for trends, kind of anticipating what would be a hot areas in your marketplace? Like we're looking at how do we identify new opportunities in your marketplace. You might recognize that, hey, selling a 1+1 condo is not really a good idea right now because there's too many in the market. It's not a good marketplace. But what is a good market? What is a good product to be selling in our market right now? Is it those semi-detached 3 bedrooms? Is it those detached bungalows? Like, what is that product that's selling like crazy? And what's the price range that's selling like crazy? Like taking the data from your MLS and not you deciding what it is, but actually having a AI program analyze it for you. That way you can go after it and look for those opportunities. Because in our marketplace, doesn't matter the economy, there's always product being sold in our marketplace, right? Someone has to buy and someone has to sell. It would be wise to identify what is it, what price range, what style of home, what neighborhoods are really hot, so that you can focus your marketing attention to that. Focus your time towards those neighborhoods, those areas that are working for you. Okay. All right, what else do I have here? How do you stay informed and ahead of industry trends and maintain competitive edge? What do you guys do? What do you guys subscribe to? What do you guys read? How do you stay ahead of the trend?
YouTube's a good one.
Okay, so but which channels on YouTube?
Well, I'll just kind of float around, and if there's obviously anything real estate related or different guys like that, nothing specific.
Okay, anyone has anything different? Does anyone use KCM? Keeping Current Matters? Yeah, KCM, excellent one, right? David Childs. Yeah, KCM is a good one, excellent. Does anyone use Google Alerts?
Yes.
Right? Look at Google Alerts. It'll email you whatever, weekly, daily, whatever you want of what's happening trending wise. Right? What else can you read? Does anyone read REM, the real estate magazine? That's Canadian. Does anyone read Inman? Housing Wire? Oh, yes. I'm not getting very much here. I see everyone just likes to listen in.
There's Dina asked a question about putting the information in the ChatGPT.
Okay.
ChatGPT. So I was going to say that what I've done is you could do the CMA or pull the sales of the area let's say I'm in Kitchener, and then put them in, like download it, put it in chat and ask it for the specific, in what areas of Kitchener in this data has the most sales.
Mhm.
If
Yeah.
that's, I think that's a part of it, which would work.
One of the things I like to use is something called, Claude. Everyone knows Claude AI.
Mm-hmm.
So in Claude AI, I created, I want to see if I can find it now. There it is. So I threw in some MLS data, which was just as a PDF from my MLS, gave it this prompt, and then it created for me a visual. Give me some stats. It's really amazing if you want visuals like this for your clients. You can take, for example, the activity on one of your listings and put it into using the prompt. And you guys can see it. It's in my Google Docs, the prompt, and you can grab and it'll create something like that, telling about what's happening with that property and the neighborhood. And then you could send it to the client, and it becomes a standalone HTML kind of newsletter that people can click on it and get deeper information. So this is how I would use, one of the ways you can use the Claude, right? So if you want to take your MLS data, now you can just take your MLS data, put it into Claude, and it will analyze it, and it can kind of gives you an overview of your marketplace. So it's not only for your clients, it could be for you. What is it that you want to analyze? Like you can ask it, hey, identify areas that I should be exploring to get more business. Right? Like that's a simple prompt. It's like, take a look at this data, tell me what's selling the most, what's selling the least amount of time so that I can spend more marketing dollars, and then create for me a marketing plan for social media to target that audience. Right? It's amazing. What else we put here? What online courses or certifications are you doing to stay top of mind? Tools that you're using. Oh no, that's the next question. Sorry. Dedicating 15 minutes a day to these types of publications, to either podcast, newsletters, whatever it is, Housing Wire, whatever it is, to read it and understanding it. I mean, Tom talks about this all the time, is do you take time to look at your MLS data and all these other platforms that are here? I really like social media. You can get a lot of great information, some amazing people that you can follow on TikTok, on Instagram, on LinkedIn that have some great information. Um, and another thing is, are you taking a look at your competitors? Have you ever analyzed their data using AI? Right? Any competitor, any top agents in the marketplace, their social media. All right. Next question, last question.
Sorry, can I just interrupt you? I am actually looking at my competition in the areas I'm selling at, in like Peel area and Halton and New York. But how can I analyze their actual data and sales? How can I analyze that?
You put into ChatGPT. You say, take a look at you print off in your MLS. You can only in Toronto MLS, you can only take 200 pieces of information. So you can only have 200 lines, but you can grab a specific area and say, okay, looking at these numbers, who's the top salesperson in this area? Right? What are they doing? And then you can actually take it further, and it will analyze, look at all their website and look at the data, and it could analyze their website, for example. What are the keywords that they're using? How are they generating business from that? Yeah, you can really analyze clients. And again, the prompts are in the AI folder, prompt folder. Last question. What's your approach to learning new tools? What's your approach? I'm going to answer it a little bit, but what's your approach?
Chat. GPT.
Okay. So he asked you shortcuts. We're using shortcuts through.
Oh yeah.
Anybody else? Go ahead, Mark.
One thing I've learned over the last year, I've adapted a lot of tech. And in the beginning of doing this, I found that I was overwhelmed with information and software and data and all kinds of stuff. And I was kind of like running around with a tail, like chasing my tail. So one thing I found extremely effective is as I was learning things, I just hyper focused on one thing. I would get that one new software, that one new thing that's being implemented into our systems or whatever it is. And then I would kind of hyper focus on it and I would give it a timeline depending on its complexity, whether it was a week or 2 weeks, and I would just really understand that model and how it works. And the thing that I'm realizing now is a lot of them play off each other. So once you get to know one thing really well, then you get into the next thing and you're like, oh, this is has similarities. So you start to pick up that other one easier, and it's not overwhelming, and it makes the whole process a lot easier.
Love it. I agree. Take it one step at a time. See, what I would say is look at the three areas of your business. You have the operation side of your business, you have the marketing side of your business, and then you have the sales part of your business. So marketing is anything and everything you do to generate a lead. Sales is anything and everything you do to get a contract signed. And operations is your backbone. It kind of keeps everything smooth together. It's your checklist, it's your SOPs. So those are the three major areas of everyone's real estate business. And to stay top, to really look at any sort of new tools or skill set is to identify weaknesses in your business. If you right now are having a tough time getting enough leads, like that's your issue. I just don't have enough people to work with. If that's the case, then look at what tools, what skill sets do you need to be developing that's relevant to that piece of the business. If you have too many leads, too much going on, you just not nurturing enough appointments. I got all these leads. There's no issue for numbers for me to call. So then look at that as being the area to improve. And sure, we can use AI to help us, but really what it comes down to it is how much time are you taking to develop your skill set, to pace and lead conversations, to get someone to take action with you, right? Because that has nothing to do with AI. That's learning what to say and how to say it and pacing and lead a conversation to an end result that you are looking for. So it's really what part of your business needs that attention, and then going all in on it until it's fixed, until you're completely at a point where, hey, I have enough leads coming in. I don't have to worry about that anymore. Now let's jump into how do I get them processed out better? What do I have to do to get more appointments? And then once I'm getting the appointments and I'm going on a regular appointment, right? It's like, okay, now how do I close them for those contracts? And then once you have those contracts, okay, how do I get the right price to get this property sold? And once the property's sold, is how do I get more referrals? How do I start getting, two transactions out of one listing? Right? And then how do I get this to become all automated and automatic for me, where I can take a step back and allow this all to work and I'm just probing a little bit. See, it's understanding what part of the business you're at that you need to identify first and foremost, and then what do you have to do to improve it? Mark, you got something?
Yeah, you helped me out a lot with both my wife and I with this a bit, because a lot of it was prioritizing seasonality too. We know the spring market and the fall market is hot. And I remember, it was a few, maybe about a month or so ago, you had mentioned to me I was working on all these business processes to try to organize things. You're like, what the hell are you doing, man? Do that in the summer. Like, you're in the spring market, contact your leads, get out there. You guys have the stuff coming in. Why are you not focusing on that right now? And I think that was a big reality check. And it was like, you know what? Hey, I just have a checklist. Like, I got a little book and I write things down that I need to fix for our business operations. But you nailed it on the head. There's a time and place for everything, and just be strategic and smart with it. So that made sense.
Yeah, and understanding your marketplace. Yes, some markets are very seasonal, right? You're gonna have, very much so the spring market and then the fall market, and then there's certain times of the year where it's slow. If you're in Florida, the busiest time of the year for you is anywhere from September to March, April, and then it dies down. Where if you're in an area where you get snow, right? We all know that, December kind of dies down, January is kind of slow, and then it starts to pick up February, March, April, May, June, right? So there's reasoning for that. A big part of it will be is when do kids go to school? Like when do they start school? Because that's going to identify when the majority of the population that move have kids. So if they want the kids to be if kids start school in September, then the closing transactions will be July and August. Those will be the most where people will be closing the transaction. And then based upon where you live, whether you have a 30-day closing is typical for you, 90-day closing is typical for you, you would then decide, hey, this is when I need to sell homes so they can close before kids start school. But if you're starting school in August, then you're pushing that forward a bit more. You know your marketplace. So identify the times of the years when people are buying the most. Yes, you should definitely be setting yourself up 90 days before that. Does that make sense? If you know that March is the craziest month, you sell tons of homes in March, tons of homes in April, you need to be prospecting like crazy when? When do we prospect like crazy? 90 days before that, 120 days before that. So like the month of November, December, and January, you're going crazy so that you can sell homes in March, April, May. Right? That's just the reality. That's just the market. Understand your market. And again, take that data, throw it into ChatGPT, it'll analyze it for you and let you know the same thing. All right, folks. Anyone else have any questions, concerns, hallucinations? Nope. You guys all good? So please unmute yourselves. Favorite part, my favorite part. I'm going to yell out what day's the day, and you're going to yell back at me. It's a money-making day. All right. What day is it today?
It's a money
It's a
making
money-making
day.
day.
Oh, no. Come on. Show me some love. Come on. Show me some love. All right. Do it again. You guys ready? Unmute yourselves. Unmute yourselves. I don't care if it's loud in your area. Unmute yourselves. You guys ready? What day is it today?
A
It's a
money making
money-making
day.
That's right. It's a money-making day. So who do you have to call today to book that listing appointment? You know who it is, so go do it. I'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks so much.